just happened?
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects... Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well,
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did...
to be honest, you might be
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? That was to be expected, of course. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage.
Thank you, Mr. Linney. In that case, you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick
Yes, that's correct, Your...
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in...
Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly... There is no way you could have...
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption.
Oh, is that so? And if I may add...
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so...
Huh?
Hey, hang on!
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that...
I was right by the box and
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my... Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
No wonder they did...
So the serial disappearances...
I've got a feeling that what happened on...
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then your first priority is to prove your... The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny!
Order! Order! First, when the thud was heard, are these claims true? Please answer my...
I'm sorry. Yes, they're...
I knew it!
Well, that's it.
What should we do now?
Granted. In that case, what is your request?
Is that really necessary?
The defendant deceived...
Order! Order! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's in that case...
Well, this is awkward. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We based our entire reasoning on the assumption not to set the wrong tone or...
I'm very sorry. I know you've clashed with the Vatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different
Right now, we want to save people.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same... I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about Right. So, you met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you...
Sorry. Please,
Well, you both say that, but... Right. Let's hear you...
Of course. We've been trying to find out how... During our investigations, from that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick.
Is that why you needed a home...
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping...
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute...
Well, what should have been a... That voice seemed to... On the way back, After that...
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Because of that prophecy I told you about.
That's the only way we...
So, it was never my... But, like I said...
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Okay.
Thanks for giving us a...
The current problem is that the scales are tipped. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusation... Huh? Whoever the... Why would... That doesn't... Paimon hopes he's telling the truth. Doesn't seem likely that anyone could have been there.
Both parties have returned to their positions. When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the...
That took long. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective. As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house. Took her out before making her change. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, so Linney proceeded to knock him out. Afterward, Linney passed. And there you have it. That's the truth behind...
Does the defendant's side have any objections to...
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linney experienced, and what he saw. According to Linney, He left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey. Seems Lenny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces of the aftermath. Lenny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Lenny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the... Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty... The crime scene had already developed by the time... Finally, he reached the surface.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the...
That's right!
My reasoning?
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire setup meant to kill? Assuming that what you say is true, Lenny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Oh, they have...
That's right, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course, you're saying that he wasn't?
Sure we don't need to give this more thought. Paimon thinks there's something off here. That's right! Lenny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything straight. This means that when the crime happened, Lenny had already entered the basement. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof!
What? To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lenny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
The deceased's name is Cowell. Lenny's... Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary... Could there have been a third person? The deceased's name is Cowell.
Huh? That can't be right.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim. No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances. The deceased's name is Cowl. No one entered or left the... The sound we heard may have come from a clash. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. It would have been tough for both people. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. It would have been tough for both people. Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. It would have been tough for both. No one entered or left. The deceased's name is... The deceased's name is... Halsey's clothing was in the tunnel. No one entered or left.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick is it
If only we knew how Halsey...
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real life...
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment. The sound we heard may have come... The deceased's name is... The vase was not broken by...
Lynette escaped from the water tank. If there's a...
How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic... Magic tricks are...
Even so, the truth must be out there somewhere. Perhaps some new line of reason. Since Cal was the deceased, we haven't placed much attention on him. But given that we aren't making much progress with the...
People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at...
Nevertheless, I believe that this is a reasonable request on the part of an attorney. Since the trial does indeed appear to be at an impasse, I believe that additional evidence may help us make more progress. Guards, please step into the lounge and examine the personal effects of the deceased, Cowell.
We are still examining the items, but we have already made critical progress. We discovered several test tubes of fluid within Cowell's baggage. The notebook in his backpack claims that these fluids are... water from the primordial sea.
The primordial sea?
The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs, and that the notebook has many entries concerning... One of these tubes was labeled Opera Epiclese. The notes also state that these dissolution properties work exclusively on people from Fontaine. It's likely that Halsey was chosen as some sort of... As such, we believe that the defense's hypothesis is, in fact, supported by sufficient evidence.
You've got to be kidding! People just...
It's something so ridiculous.
Wait a moment. This reminds me of a certain prophecy.
Huh. If people can become water, does that mean that the water tank's real use was as a means to hide water stains? And if Cowell was targeting that girl... Wait just a minute. Could that mean... You two...
Demoiselle, wait! What about your partner?
Let's go.
Order! It is undeniable that further examination of the deceased's personal effects has results. Still, let us... Guards, please continue examining the... Mr. Linney, it appears your hypothesis is supported by the evidence.
Of course. Think, if we uphold this hypothesis, I believe that many of these cases seem—
Right! Like the metal hook! Let's think about this. Cowell's methods must have something to do with that water from the primordial sea.
The water from the primordial sea. I remember there was something. Lynette was in the magic box on stage the entire. The rope that held the water tank up. The deceased's name is. The water from the primordial. Now it seems like the hook rope was not meant for another magic. Lynette was in the magic box. Now it seems like the water from the primordial sea. I remember there was.
Would tamper with the water tank rope. When the magic box containing Halsey was lowered, the metal hook would retract gradually and pierce the balloon at the top of the box. When the balloon attached to the box popped, the water from the primordial seed inside it would pour down. Afterward, Cowell would enter the tunnel and break the flower vase to conceal the water inside the tunnel, with the remaining evidence being covered up by the water tank on stage. But he encountered something unexpected.
That actually...
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation.
Now, it seems like his notes mentioned he—
On that note, I shall now invite him on stage.
Thank you, Your Honor. And we found—
What?
That can't be.
Does this not, my dear... Linny did not need to take part in the dissolution of the young woman at all. Indeed, having made modifications to the props beforehand, but upon his return, ultimately, he not now, as much as I... Am I right?
We've used up all the evidence we collected. There's no way for us to make a... Is this the end of the...
I think we've all... I believe this is indeed... Now then, my... excuse me, everyone.
Miss, I'm...
Oh, come on. I'll show you an amazing trick. What?
No offense, miss.
Come on now, don't be silly. Magic is all about misdirection. But once everyone believes the illusion, can't magic reveal the truth? And wouldn't such a... Come on, Linny and Lynette. Give it another go. Don't... But, as the magic makers and stars of the show...
I understand.
And voila!
Sorry.
Wait, isn't that Halsey?
To be clear, I'm only here because this person told me that if I testified, the merit of doing so would lessen my sentence. I was hiding outside this room listening to the proceedings because I was afraid that I would be the... I was just feeling happy that no one had noticed me. And then, before I knew it, she caught me.
That'll teach you to underestimate...
Where should I begin? Firstly, my name isn't Halsey. It's Lillian, and I'm originally from Mondstadt. I heard that Linny's show was gonna be a real thriller, but I missed the chance. That's how I make a living. I steal stuff here and there. But I was noticed at the harbor a few days ago, and I barely got away.
Hey, no wonder you look familiar. Liddy even meant.
Well, and I thought that would have been the end of it, but then the number selector chose me. He even mentioned the Fortress of Meripede. That's a prison, isn't it? So you can. So I played along with the show while looking for an opening to flee. I wasn't going to take that lying down. There was nowhere to run from there, though, so I had to change my clothes and hide in a box containing performance costumes. I slipped out after the first guard arrived at the scene and continued hiding in.
Can a person even hide in there?
But I swear, I didn't know that the water tank would fall down. Had I known that, I wouldn't have put him in the magic box.
Well, that makes everything pretty clear now, doesn't it?
This time, we need to tell the entire... Seems this... The strange sound wasn't from a fight. It was Lillian's attempt to break out when she was frightened. The flower vase was not broken to cover anything up, but was smashed during the struggle between Lillian. Lillian was afraid that she...
And it's Ace Detective Paimon time! Having been selected out of the blue, Lillian panicked. Her panic only intensified after she entered the tunnel and had hearing the commotion. He did not know that Lillian was not from Fontaine, mistakenly believing that the two broke the flower vase with no way of escaping. That she would have to go.
She had already become desperately hungry by the time we were chatting over macarons. So, she swiped 2 of them right under our noses.
At this point, all the events that...
Ah, so that's...
Bravo!
Now then, Lady Farina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question.
What are you reading? No, I have no further.
Wow, look at that!
If there are no objections, then as the Chief Justice of Fontaine, the actual perpetrator of the serial disappearances, Cowell, with some modifications to the selector, he could, to cover up any evidence while committing the deed, Cowell thought of allowing the water tank to fall, which would conceal the water left behind. He also tampered with the rope suspending the water tank, using the fireworks at the end of the performance to cause the tank to drop, and he poured the water from the Finally, he passed the prepared hook on a rope through the gap in the magic box's door when bringing the young woman to set. When the magic trick officially began, the box containing the woman was lowered into the tunnel, tightening the hook rope and bursting the balloon containing the water. If all had gone to plan, the young woman would be dissolved at this time. However, Lillian was not from Fontaine, and thus fled the box with a loud noise. Realizing that there was trouble, Cowell entered the tunnel and met Lillian. However, his opponent was more capable than he thought, and he was overcome, knocked unconscious. Lillian, according to her own statements, then changed clothes and hid until the performance ended, before hiding in other parts of the opera house. As for Linny, he was in the underground structures within the opera house, and was thus ignorant of these happenings. From this reconstruction of events, we can conclude that Linny, the accused, is in fact innocent.
Hooray, Linny and Lynette! Amazing!
While there is much in Linny and Lillian's conduct that should still be investigated, this case, at least, can be handed over to the Oratrice to make the final decision. As such, Linny and Lynette are officially declared.
Great work.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Next, I think we deserve an explanation, Guard Vaughn. How did you find the water from the primordial?
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake.
I suspect that the accomplice mentioned in Cowell's notes was not Linny, but you. I'm sure you know what you must do to lessen your sentence.
Speak quickly! Unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town.
I was just following. We were supposed to place blame for the serial disappearances onto Linny, and thus cause suspicion to fall on the Fatui. The higher-ups said this was the best opportunity to do so.
And now that your plan has fallen through, and the secrets of the water have been revealed, you have become a liability to said higher-ups, yes? Therefore, you would be wise to tell everything you know, and seek the protection of the guards.
Yes, our boss discovered that the water it can also be made. We've been in this business for a while now.
And now he can no longer.
Such ruthlessness.
An outrageous act. All present, please submit to inspection immediately.
So, we're just going back now? That's...
Traveler, Paimon! Please wait.
Linny...
I know you may not want to speak to me right now. Maybe you don't even want to look at me, but still. Let me thank you again for defending me to the end, even after you learned that I'm a member of the Fatui. I guess. But I didn't approach you with any ulterior motives or ill intent. I've spoken to you as myself, just plain Linny this entire time. As for why I'm a Fatus, it's because the goals of the House of the Hearth align with those of an orphan like me. That was how Father, who you might know as the Knave, approached recruiting us back.
The Knave? The one who controls the House of the Hearth? She's your father?
That's right. And since we're here, back when our parents first died, Lynette and I were left wandering the street. To survive, I took to surreptitiously observing an older street performer who did magic. It took me several days to figure out how he pulled off his... I took my sister through several streets until we found a crowded corner. And to my surprise, we proved to be pretty popular, and we could at least stop worrying about where our next meal would come from for a time. But I didn't want my sister to... Before long, an aristocrat came to me and claimed that he wished to take us in.
So you went from orphans to...
That was how we felt at first, too. As if fate was on our side and we could say goodbye to those painful... But I gradually discovered that while we were called foster children, he was really after my talent for magic. He would constantly take me...
That doesn't seem...
After one particular performance at a banquet, I discovered that Lynette was not on the same return vehicle as me. I waited a long time after we returned home, but she did not come back. I went to that noble's bed. The answer he gave me was, she caught the eye of the most eminent person at the banquet, so I sent her over as a gift. I mean, you'll be able to perform your magic regardless of who your assistant is, yes?
Oh no. But what in Fontaine's life?
As far as outsiders are concerned, this is a relationship akin to adoption or foster. I managed to ferret out the location of the mansion of that... All I saw was the moonlit ground covered in blood. And the Knave, standing there in the...
So, she'd already taken care of that guy.
That's right. She had rescued my sister before she could come to any harm, and had even discovered several girls hidden in a... Father, I mean, the Knave, might have seen something in me, and so she... The House of the Hearth welcomes you, for your interests align with ours. Here, none will ever betray you. Indeed, betrayal shall never be permitted here. I was hesitant to trust her. I mean, I had just been betrayed, but she was also quick to destroy the noble who had taken us in at first.
Oh, So that's how the two of you joined the House of the Hearth.
She has her own plans. She has gained permission from the Sarita to first use the Gnosis' power once she obtains it. She plans to use it to find a way to break the prophecy and save...
So, she believes that...
That's right. The whole House of the Hearth is currently working to combat that. Today's case has also proven that people from Fontaine can indeed dissolve into some sort of water. Everyone at Hotel Bouffe d'été, including the knave, has their roots in Fontaine. And we will always defend our home. To us orphans?
So, from small deeds like distributing magic
It's alright. I understand. I just hope you can understand that if you should need anything at all in the future, feel free to...
Bye, Linny!
Hey there! What was with the disappearing act you pulled right as the trial ended?
Were you looking for us now?
Well, this whole thing isn't exactly over, is it? I do feel that we're getting closer to solving the serial disappearances case, though. Huh? What's wrong, my dear partner?
Besides, are you sure we're... And given that there's new...
Ah, I see. Well, I won't... Sorry. I might...
Don't say that, Navia.
Ah, and we were having so much fun investigating with you, too. It was like having new waters flowing into a stagnant mire, causing new hope to spring forth. Sorry about that. Wait, shall we have a farewell meal? You know...
Huh? Do we really need to get that?
Well, I'd just like to have a proper ending to every important memory. Anyway, it would just be a meal, so it shouldn't take up too much of...
You don't have to
Oh, wonderful.
All right, then.
In that case, I'll go order for us first.
Ooh, everything looks so good.
Why, of course. Go ahead, try whatever you like. If the food's...
And if it...
Well,
Yeah. Oh, we called this a farewell meal, but we could also treat it like a
Oh, true.
But... Speaking of cases, do you...
Well, we've certainly taken a big step forward.
If it hadn't happened...
Right? Yet it was...
Ugh.
In such investigations, even the smallest... To be honest, I don't have high hopes for any follow-up that the authorities... It's not that I don't have... It's easy to... Which is exactly why the Spina di Rosula exist. Those highfalutin folk are... Let's talk about something else. Like, what are your future plans?
That's true. We didn't have a chance to speak...
I've heard that there's a long...
Yeah, we've heard that
Well, would you consider some more, unique ways?
Guess that's...
Well, one way would be to infiltrate a performance troupe at the Opera House, only to abandon your act at the play's climax and ask to speak to her after the performance. I'm sure Lady Farina would be
could you suggest something a little more practical? This plan seems pretty hard.
Alright, I can personally testify that this one works. When I'm sleepy, I'll do anything as long as I can finally get...
That might work, but that's not...
Valid point. I overlooked that part. All right, no more joking around. You did defeat her in court, clearing citizens of hers from false accusations. False accusations she had nearly upheld personally. I imagine that she feels quite ashamed about the whole thing.
You mean that if we catch her while she's on a break, she might be too embarrassed to refuse? Oh, that does make some sense. Why don't we give it a try after this meal? You know.
Huh? Paimon, did you drink my Fanta?
What? Sorry about that. Paimon wasn't really paying attention and the cup was right next to Paimon. Would you like to order another?
No, it's fine. We're just about...
Alright. Honestly, Paimon wouldn't recommend Fanta anyway. It tastes kind of salty and icky.
Is that so? Huh. Well, in that case, we'll have to blacklist the Fanta here then. If we're all finished eating, then I'll go...
Yeah. Normal.
Okay. As for expenses this month, we're left...
Hey, Navia! What
Oh, nothing. It was just a meal, you know? Nothing the Spina di Rosula can't cover. So this is goodbye, huh? Well, if you do encounter any other trouble in Fontaine, you're always welcome to contact the Spina di Rosula. I'll give your requests the highest priority. In any case, I wish you smooth... See ya!
people around anymore. Looks like that boat we took to Araneas might have been the last one.
Vache.
Looks like we're back here again. Huh? Traveler? Are you hearing voices again?
Vache?
Hey, why are you still walking towards it? Huh? Hang on. Hey, Traveler? Stop walking! Come on, wake up!
Vache, are you... my... No, wait. You seem to be someone else. Do you know I'm... Wait. Who am I? My memories feel like they have... How much have I lost? How many things that I once held dear while on land have I since forgotten? Yes, that is what I was. I do not know how I came to be like this either. I also remember going to many places, no matter where But now... we can know... No! Our reunion no longer has any meaning. There is no way for us to create any new... The thought of me gives him no succor. So let it lie forgotten beneath the wall. If you meet Vache, tell him not to look for me. Tell him to move on. That is the only thing I still remember. Perhaps that is so. If only I could have comforted him. Told him that I did not suffer. Indeed. Is that what you call it? It was a state of neither fear nor... I could also liken it to being a thirsty person who drinks water for the first time, and only then sees how they have lived for so long. I think I hear your companion. It's time for you to go, I think. Farewell, then.
Wake up! Come on, hurry! Navi is outnumbered!
Demoiselle, look out!
Dear God, it's a whole army of Gardamex. Chlorand? Quick, now's our chance! I should thank you for lending us your sword there, Chlorand. But before I do so, could you explain how you managed to show up here?
I followed you. It seemed to me that danger has followed you more closely as of late.
I believe that following someone without their knowledge is actually...
Mr. Callus's last wish was for me to ensure your safety, and I will not betray his trust.
Do not speak of my...
Sorry, demoiselle. I was not...
Thank you for your aid, Miss Clorand, but do keep an eye out for your manner of speech. I believe we all wish to avoid unnecessary emotional harm.
Sorry, I did not consider your feelings.
Whatever. What else do you know? How did you come to the conclusion that...
I doubt I know much more than you. but I believe that the mastermind behind the serial disappearances is very powerful. Your performance tonight will almost certainly attract their attention.
I'm sure they've known about me. To be honest, I'm shocked it's taken them this long to act against me. And what about—
None of these mecha have serial numbers. I was sure to check a moment ago. They are not the ones used by the authorities to enforce the law. I can only conclude that some powerful or wealthy party must have obtained them via illegal means.
What? Your point being that they're out of Spina di Rosula's league, then?
Yes. Be careful.
I will continue regardless.
I do not think that they'll strike again anytime soon. So I shall stop following you. Good day, all.
Right. I suppose that's the best news.
Demoiselle, I believe that Miss Clorand was being sincere with you. If we tried, we could attempt to thaw relations a little.
I know, she's...
Oh, thank goodness! Paimon thought we were done! Those Gardamex came out of nowhere while you were unconscious, and Nadia and her gang saved— Oh, and there was that champion duelist named Clorand who came out to save us too! We got lucky there. Paimon probably couldn't have fought them off.
Oh, come now. Forget all that polite talk. That wasn't really a farewell meal we had back there. Not for me, anyway. In truth, I hope that every meal we have together, as such, we're still partners.
It will take 50 years for me to match Demoiselle's magnanimity.
If it were me, I would have joined the Spina di Rosula on account of her goodwill long ago.
Actually, Navia, how did you know that we were in danger?
Well, to be honest, you're the one who tipped us off, Paimon.
Huh? Really?
Yes. All thanks to you grabbing my drink by mistake.
How did—
After we parted ways, I was on the way back to one of our bases when I suddenly thought of what you said. That the Fanta tasted kind of salty and icky. Fanta only comes in sweet flavors. So how could it have tasted salty? The color of the drink, if I recall, had also been a bit off.
So the Fanta had been spiked with water from the primordial sea?
Yes. So, if you hadn't drunk that cup...
Spina di Rosula is preparing the grandest of awards for you as we speak for saving the...
Huh! Really?
I sent people to Hotel de Boer to investigate. But whoever did that's when I figured out that you might be in danger and hurried here as quickly as I...
But why would they go after us, too?
Well, you did foil a plan that they were probably pretty proud of. Speaking of which, did anything strange happen when you drank the primordials?
Well, it can't be a coincidence that the traveler fainted just now. He said that he heard that voice calling for Vache again. Oh, and this time Paimon heard it too, but it was real faint. Does that mean—
That doesn't sound like too much of a bad thing, to be honest.
New intel? What?
Well, let's hear it, shall we? Oh, that is important. Vache. That name doesn't ring a bell. I suppose he hasn't stepped forward as a witness in court lately. Since he saw that young woman dissolve, but he never gave testimony or any information regarding people dissolving in the prime— Yes, thank you. This is very important information. Oh, you mean you'll help us in—
Well, you did say that And besides, we're in this now whether we like it or not. You're not gonna let those people who targeted us get off the hook so easily, are you, Traveler?
Demoiselle, do try not to look quite so pleased. You are the face of Spina di Rosula, after all.
You talk too much. Well, in that case, we also have some plans to go over.
Don't worry, you two. With us around, our base is definitely secure.
Add Astra. Add Astra.
It's right up ahead, but...
I've been keeping watch, Demoiselle. I haven't spotted anyone...
Huh. Very good.
I shall find rooms for our respected...
Thank you, Malus. Now, let's continue, Traveler.
Being skilled at something.
is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
Well, our funds have been... After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot large a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite his equal.
Your father... he was the previous...
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And, as partners, this is something I hope they can understand. My father's name is Callus. Yes, the same one they call Callus the Unfaithful in the streets. 3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead.
Oh no.
But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up. At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up But, strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena. 3 years later, I still don't understand. How could he protect his honor if he's dead? The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined.
That's right. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something. I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend? If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me. And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful.
If there is anything I can do.
I also will never believe that Master Callus... Yet, even our support has decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances.
Wait! If Callus was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be...
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
But how could... never mind.
There is one...
Oh! Her? Yeah. That's not the sort...
Miss Cloran. She knew Master Callus before there was...
Don't worry, now.
Afterward, Miss Cloran told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callus requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety. Yes, that is our understanding.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me? All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with... thanks. You two should go and rest.
Yeah. Paimon's beat.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest soundly.
safe. Huh? Navia?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters. There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
Paimon gets the feeling that you're just trying to get them up, but never mind.
No, I just returned after going out for a while.
Wait!
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been I suspect.
Does that...
No. And that is the archives, kept by Chief Justice If the... Oh...
So Nervalette. In that case, let's go talk to him.
No. The palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice...
This place does look pretty heavily
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes...
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys. It's all coming back to me now.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Is that even a thing?
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Thanks so much.
Please come in.
Sorry to barge in, Monsieur Nervalette. We only lied to get in because...
It's all right.